What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Are stages exploitative? Are they valuable? Where and how in that process of the hiring process? So many different opportunities and horror stories we've been hearing. We really need to start to understand and evaluate the way that we're communicating, interacting, the expectations that we're setting.
I see the value in knowing and seeing the actual what's going on in the kitchen. Whether it is if I feel comfortable working in that environment, because not every kitchen is for every person, and whether or not you gel with the team, what the expectation is of your job, what a service looks like. I think those are all really important things. But in the same token, I think that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing someone else's job that day. So just seeing how you'll interact, but I don't think that means that you're doing a full day's work.
When all of a sudden your labor is creating revenue and you're doing somebody's job, that's when it shifts, right? That's when it goes from an exchange of value to a transaction. And when we start thinking about people as a commoditized transactional asset, all of a sudden it shifts, because now that is then forced labor to be able to make you money. So there's like an interesting dynamic there of who and where the actual value is. And the reality is we need to just have more meaningful and transparent conversations about that. What we're talking about now is a clear exchange of value, because you may be doing mundane work at some of those places, yet everything they're doing is teaching you something to the nth degree. It is at the highest level. Even the way that they organize tickets, the way that they call in the kitchen, all of these things are huge learning opportunities. Yet I know there was absolutely times when I was in the shit that I misscheduled somebody and it was my day off and they did not get the value out of it. And that was a loss on my part and a loss on their part. They may have gotten the job, they may have added some value into them, but it did not meet the expectation that I had set for us. And that happens a lot for people that are well-intentioned.
Well, I think part of that is just kind of being honest and upfront, or even asking as the interviewer or interviewee, like, what is it that we're going to do tomorrow? So that way you know what's going on. But I think that's a really great part about stages too, is I can tell how much you're taking away from the experience of being in the kitchen by the questions that you're asking as things are going on.
What is a reasonable expectation of time for you?
For me, it's one shift. I want to know if they're going through and everybody's working on it, or if it's something that one person gets stuck in the corner doing. I want to see how they operate. And I want to see how that front of house operates with the back of house. Is it one big team that meshes well? And you're not going to get that if you show up for an hour. As somebody coming in to do the stage, I want to see what the business values. If it's a position that doesn't require that much, I want them to be there long enough to where they interact with the staff enough that the staff has thoughts about whether or not this person is going to mesh with the team. And that's really it.
I expect someone to put a day's worth of work in, whether that is between sitting down with the crew for family meal, sitting down with me for an interview, seeing the service all the time, all that stuff lumped together.
I'm ultimately cultivating a team that's going to give me a deep bench and allow me to open up more concepts. And it's all about building the culture, right? So I'm going to bring in servers who are going to ultimately develop more skills, more education, and be ready to take on a leadership role, either at the concept that they're at or at a new concept that I'm going to build, because I'm not in it for one and done, right? There's a lot more to it, because we're only going to bring the right person onto our team. I'd rather run with a short staff and limit seating and have the right people than get a warm body that I've brought in that I can't get rid of now.
And I can just tell by the way you're talking about it that you are spending time not just implementing a system, but evaluating a system while you're using it to evaluate candidates. I think it is an important part of it, because it's not our job to manage pieces of paper. It's our job to manage people and lead people, right? So
we go through all these things. One of my favorite ones that I always add on at the end of the interview process is like, look, so we have these core values, and I list them all down. Like, if you had 3 core values to represent yourself, what would they be? And it's just getting to see how people react in certain things, how they think about themselves. Because when it comes down to it, the culture in the restaurant is more important than anything.